Hi, I'm Megan Feminella, and I'm going to be the teacher.
Hi, I'm Adriana Galano, and I'm going to be the student.
Hi, I'm Caitlin McCormick. I'm going to be observing.
Okay, Adriana, so today we are going to be reading a story together. And would you mind reading the title of the story for me?
Yes, it's called Beth's Trip in the Grass.
Very nice. So right off the bat, just looking at the title, what do you think this story is going to be about?
Maybe Beth is with her school friends on a class trip, and maybe they went to the park and they're in the grass.
Interesting. Definitely a good idea for sure. So I don't know if you noticed, but there's a couple of vocabulary words up at the top of the screen that you might not have seen before. So let's just read through them really quick, okay? So the first word is W-H-E-N, and that word is when, okay? W-H-E-N is when. W-H-A-T says what. The word is what. W-H-I-C-H is which. T-H-E-R-E is there. M-Y is my. W-H-Y is why. T-R-Y is try. And then on the other side of the screen, we have those three other words there. We have S-H-O-E, which is shoe. S-E-E is see. And S-A-W is saw. Okay, do you have any questions about those vocabulary words?
No.
Awesome. Okay, so before we start reading the story, we have one vocabulary word in the passage that you might not have heard before. So if we look down in the second paragraph, in the first sentence, there's a word spelled W-E-P-T, and that word is wept. Have you ever heard the word wept before?
I have heard it before.
Oh, great. Do you want to tell me what it means?
When someone is crying a lot,
Yes, awesome. And if someone's crying a lot, what does that look like?
it could look like this.
Yes, exactly, right? So if someone wept, they're just super upset, crying, hands in their face. Very good. Okay, so before we jump into the story, I have a question. Have you ever gotten in trouble with your parents before?
Yes.
Uh-oh, do you want to tell us about it?
Sure. Well, I have a sister, and one time we were arguing, and I pulled her hair, and then she told my parents, and they weren't too happy with me.
Yeah, I can imagine. That's not too good. All right, so let's keep that in mind because this story, Beth's Trip in the Grass, might have something to do with getting in trouble. Okay, so my next thing I'm going to ask you to do is we are going to read Beth's Trip in the Grass to ourselves silently. You can run your cursor over each sentence to make sure we're following along. And as we read each sentence, I want you to make a movie in your mind, okay? So each sentence is going to help us build up this big, big picture of all of the events that happen in this story, okay?
Okay.
So I'm here to help you. If you need any help, you can stop reading to yourself and ask any questions. But we're reading to ourselves, and while we're reading, big movie picture in our mind, okay? So you
Okay.
can start reading and let me know when you are done.
I just need help with this word.
Of course. What are the letters in this word, Adriana?
TWIG.
Okay, great. So what's a strategy that we can use when we find a word that we aren't very familiar with?
I could tap it out.
We can tap it out. So I'll tap it out first, and then you can tap it out with me. So we're gonna go t-w-i-g, twig. So why don't you try and do the same thing and tell me what the word is?
Okay. Twig. Twig. Twig.
What's a twig? Do you know what a twig is?
Like a branch.
Yeah, it's like a little piece of a branch. Very good. Okay, you good to keep on going?
Yeah, thank you.
No problem.
I just finished.
Okay, so then you have your movie in your mind?
Yes.
All right, great. So, Adrienne, I'm going to ask you to take away the text.
Okay.
Great. And your next step is to try and picture the movie in your brain and retell me what happened in the story, okay, using all of the images in your head.
Okay. I remember there was a girl named Beth, and she had a nice dress on, but she ruined her dress, and her mom didn't know why or how it happened.
Okay, awesome. So, um, I want you to think about the movie that you made in your mind. And now we're going to try and retell the story the whole way through from beginning to end and give me as many details as you can. Okay. So let's
Okay.
try and think. Let's start from the beginning and retell me Beth's trip in the grass.
Okay. Um, so the girl Beth was outside and she had a nice dress on, but then she went to go play outside and she cut her dress with a twig and she started to cry about it. And then
So
her mom,
Adriana, if she's crying, let's think. How is she gonna look if she's crying after falling from a big slip?
thinks she's going to be, I think her dress is going to be all messed up and her face is going to be all wet from all her crying and
Right? She's weeping.
she's going
She's
to be like
crying.
this.
She's so
And
upset, right?
she fell, her hair might be messed up.
Mm-hmm. Good. Keep going.
So then her mom found her and she didn't know how that happened because she was supposed to be sitting on top step waiting. And it said at the end that everything was okay with the
Right.
dress.
Very good, right? So if Beth's mom found her on the floor crying, how do you think Beth's mom could have asked her what happened? What would she have done?
I think she could have asked Beth where she was and how come she has a tear in her dress now.
Right? She could have said, Beth, what happened? Why are you on the floor? And why is there a big rip in your dress? Right?
Yeah.
Hi, awesome. So, do you what color was Beth's hair, do you think?
Um, maybe it was blonde.
Right? It could have been blonde, right? Straight or curly?
Curly.
Right? Nice curly blonde hair. And do you remember what color Beth's dress was?
I think it was a red dress.
It was a red dress. Very nice. So she had a beautiful red dress on. And Beth's mom got up to go get her bag. And then Beth decided to get up too. And she ended up hitting a twig, which led to a big slip. And she fell and cut her leg open. And then she started to weep, right? She was weeping. And there was a big old rip in her dress. So mom was not happy about it. And then Beth needed to tell her mom that because she got up and slipped, the grass made a big hole in her dress. And do you remember what Beth's mom did to try and fix the dress?
I think that it said she got a pin, so maybe her mom stitched it together before they had to leave.
That's a great idea, right? Sometimes when we try and fix a hole in something, we stick a pin in it, right? So, Adriana, I have a question, a couple of questions about the story. So, what do you think Beth was feeling when she fell and got a hole in her dress? What do you think some things Beth could have been thinking?
I think she could have been scared
Why do you think she would be scared?
because her mom told her to stay there, and then she left and she ruins her dress, and now her mom's going to be mad.
Right. I think that's a good idea too. And Adriana, just one more question. I'm looking at the story, and at the end, the last sentence says, all was well in the end. So what do you think happened at the end of the story with Beth and her mom?
I think that her mom was able to fix the dress, and now Beth was probably happy that her mom was able to do that, and she made her feel better.
I think that's a great inference to make, right? Even though it didn't say that the dress was fixed, right? If we know that everything was all well at the end, then I think it was a happy ending for Beth and her hole in her dress. So good job. Okay, so I'm going to ask you to pull the story back up for me.
Okay.
Okay. So we're going to read this story out loud. Well, you are, okay? And when we're reading out loud, I want you to work on penciling or scooping each part of the sentence to make sure that each sentence flows well, okay? So you're going to practice reading out loud and running along your cursor on the bottom. And this is just a practice round, okay? So we're going to work on penciling, and you let me know if you need help, okay?
Okay. Okay. Mom asked Beth to sit on the top step.
Okay, so Adriana, I'm just going to ask you really quick. Do you think there's another way maybe we could pencil that in to make it flow a little bit better?
Yeah, I could try another way.
Okay, so why don't you try it and see if it sounds better?
Okay. Mom asked Beth to sit on the top step.
What do you think about that one? I think that sounds a lot better.
I think it sounds better than the first one.
Okay, good. So let's try and keep that idea in mind as we read the rest of the story.
Okay. Beth was in her best red dress, and Mom did not want Beth to get up.
Let's think. Beth was in her best red dress, and Mom did not want Beth to get up. So let's try and split up the subjects that we're talking about in our sentence and the verbs too, right? So maybe if we try and read it like this: Beth was in her best red dress, and Mom did not want Beth to get up.
I think that sounds better.
Okay, good. Do you want to try and reread it one more time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Beth was in her best red dress, and Mom did not want Beth to get up.
Very good. That sounded much smoother. Okay, keep going.
Okay. When Mom left to get her bag, Beth got up fast. She slid off the steps. What did Beth do next?
When we read that sentence, what do we notice at the end? What punctuation?
Oh, it's a question mark.
Okay, so is there a different way maybe we can read that sentence?
Yeah, so we could say, what did Beth do next?
Awesome.
She ran in the grass, but her shoe hit a twig, which led to a big slip. Beth fell and got a cut on one of her legs. Beth went back to the top step, stuck her chin in her hands, and wept. She could see that there was a big rip in her dress. She should not have gone for a run in the grass. Mom was mad when she saw the rip in Beth's dress. She asked, my, Beth, how could this be? Why did you get up? Beth had to tell Mom that her slip in the grass led to this mess. Mom had to fix the cut on Beth's leg, then try to stick a pin in the red dress. All was well in the end.
Great job, Adriana. Very good. So once we got used to penciling at the beginning, it helped the story go a lot smoother, right?
It did.
Okay, so the very last thing I'm going to ask you to do is read Beth's Trip in the Grass from start to end, okay? The same penciling that we just did, nice and smooth, and then you're going to be all done.
Okay. Mom asked Beth to sit on the top step. Beth was in her best red dress, and Mom did not want Beth to get up. When Mom left to get her bag, Beth got up fast. She slid off the steps. What did Beth do next? She ran in the grass, but her shoe hit a twig, which led to a big slip. Beth fell and got a cut on one of her legs. Beth went back to the top step, stuck her chin in her hands, and wept. She could see that there was a big rip in her dress. She should not have gone for a run in the grass. Mom was mad when she saw the rip in Beth's dress. She asked, my, Beth, how could this be? Why did you get up? Beth had to tell Mom that her slip in the grass led to this mess. Mom had to fix the cut on Beth's leg, then try to stick a pin in the red dress. All was well in the end.
Great job, Adriana. That was very smooth reading, and I liked how you emphasized the punctuation marks for certain sentences when questions were being asked. Very nice job.
Thank you.